Hello everyone. In this class, we'll learn about blood and plasma proteins. The circulating system is the transport system that supplies oxygen and nutrition to the tissues. It returns carbon dioxide, which is produced in the tissue, to the lungs, and it brings the product of metabolism to the kidney for its excretion. It is also involved in the regulation of the body temperature. It is involved in the distribution of hormones and other agents that regulate the cell function. And the blood is carrier of all these substances. The blood can have cellular element and plasma element. The cellular element of the blood represents 45% of the total blood volume, where it includes blood cells, the red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, which are suspended in the plasma. And plasma is the clear straw-colored fluid portion of the blood, and it represents 55% of the total blood volume. The plasma contains almost 91 to 92% water and only 8 to 9% of solids. And the solids, they comprise both organic and inorganic substance. The organic substance is 8%, which is made up of plasma proteins, carbohydrates, enzymes, fats, hormones, and non-protein nitrogenous substances. And inorganic substances make sodium, calcium, potassium, magnesium, carbonate, chloride, phosphate, copper, and iron. The normal total circulating volume is around 5600 ml in a 70 kg man, and it is about 80% of the body weight. The normal pH range is between 7.35 to 7.45, and average is 7.4, and the specific gravity ranges between 1.055 to 1.062. The blood is 5 times more viscous than water, and salinity of water is around 0.9 N. Some of the functions of the blood are: it has a respiratory function which helps in the transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide. It has a nutritive function which distributes various nutrients to all the parts of the body. It has excretory function where it transports waste materials to the organs, especially for the kidney and skin for the excretion. It has a defense mechanism because of the presence of antibody which are going to neutralize the antigen. It has a storage function as it acts as a storehouse for different materials like nutrients, water, electrolytes. It helps in the regulation of the body temperature due to the high specific heat of the blood. And it is very important for regulation of the acid-base balance, as they have a plasma proteins and hemoglobin, which are potent buffers. And they play a major role in homeostasis. Plasma proteins. Plasma proteins include albumin, globulin, fibrinogen, and prothrombin. The total amount of plasma protein in the blood is 6.4 to 8.3 gram per cent. And the normal albumin globulin ratio is 1.7:1. And this ratio is reversed in case of liver disorders, as the albumin synthesis is decreased in liver disease. Plasmapheresis or Whipple's experiment is an experimental procedure done in animals to demonstrate the importance of plasma proteins. Some of the functions of plasma proteins. It is involved in the coagulation of the blood due to the presence of fibrinogen, prothrombin, and clotting factors. It takes part in coagulation of the blood. It is involved in the defense mechanism of the body, as gamma globulins, they're going to produce antibodies. They maintain colloidal osmotic pressure. Almost 80% of the colloidal osmotic pressure is due to the albumin, and colloidal osmotic pressure is inversely proportional to the molecular size and directly related to the concentration of the molecule. It is involved in the transport. Albumin and globulin transports various hormones, enzymes, bilirubin, and metals like copper, iron, etc. Plasma proteins are very important for acid-base balance or regulation because of their buffering action. It provides stability to the blood. This is due to the presence of globulin and fibrinogen. If the blood loses viscosity, RBC will pile upon each other and leads to Rayleigh formation. Plasma proteins are important for maintenance of systemic arterial blood pressure as the viscosity of the blood is mostly due to the fibrinogen, and arterial blood pressure depends on the viscosity of the blood. And plasma proteins acts as a protein store. So here are some of the differences between albumin, globulin, fibrinogen and prothrombin. The molecular weight of albumin is around 69,000. The normal plasma level ranges between 3.5 to 5 gram per cent. It is produced in the liver. Some of the important functions are binding and carrier protein. It acts as a binding and carrier protein, and it is important for osmotic regulation. Globulin molecular weight is a bit high. It is between 90,000 to 1.5 lakhs. Its concentration ranges between 2 to 3 gram per cent. It is produced by the reticuloendothelial cells and plasma cells, and it is important for mediation of immunity. And it acts as a transport proteins uh, for as a transferrin, ceruloplasmin, and hemopexin, and fibrinogen. The molecular weight is around 3.5 lakhs, and its plasma level ranges between 0.2 to 0.4 gram per cent. It is produced in the liver, and it is important clotting factor for the clotting of the blood, and it provides the major part of the viscosity to the blood. Where prothrombin, the molecular weight is around 68,000, concentration is 0.1 gram per cent. It is also again produced in the liver. It is important clotting factor in the blood. Hyperproteinemia, increase in the level of plasma proteins, is seen in conditions in which there is a hemoconcentration, for example, diabetes insipidus. Hypoproteinemia, where the decreased levels of plasma protein is observed. It is seen in malnutrition, burns, malabsorption, and hemorrhages. This causes decrease in colloidal osmotic pressure, therefore increase the filtration occurs at the arterial end and decrease in the absorption at the venous end occurs, and this is going to result in edema. In liver disorders, Ag ratio reverses when the body tissues are damaged. Though plasma albumin falls, the plasma immunoglobulin increases as a result of plasma cell hyperplasia, causing Ag ratio reversal. Multiple myeloma, where there is increase in the levels of globulins due to the malignant growth of plasma cells. This is in brief about blood and plasma proteins. Thank you.